caught in a typhoon
Oh, wow.
in the China Sea.
Okay.
Does praying actually improve your chances?
Like, what are the odds?
Yeah, like realistically,
Yeah.
is it going to do anything for you?
That's a big question.
So how does at light of reflection handle that kind of direct challenge?
Oh.
I mean, can faith really like stand up to a hurricane?
Well, at lighter reflection actually doesn't flinch at all.
Really?
Yeah, they point out that at muck is kind of approaching prayer. Like it's this, like a cosmic vending
Oh,
machine.
I like that.
You know, like put in your prayer and you'll get your desired outcome.
Right, right.
So they're arguing that prayer isn't about like forcing the universe to like bend to your will.
Oh, okay.
It's more about just recognizing that there is this higher power and accepting its plan.
So it's more about kind of like the internal shift
Yeah.
than necessarily dictating what happens outside of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And they use this really interesting analogy.
Oh, okay.
They say, like, think about like courage in battle or hope when you're facing a crisis. Like
Yeah.
these things, they don't magically make you invincible, but they can dramatically change how you cope
I like that.
with this situation.
It's not so much did my prayer work, it's more like how did prayer work on me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then that kind of raises another question, right? If it's not about getting specific results, what are the possible outcomes according to at light of reflection? Like, what are they saying can happen when you pray?
So they actually outline two main outcomes.
Okay.
And this is where I think it gets a little bit more complex.
All right. I'm intrigued.
So the first outcome is survival, right? And it's presented as like a second chance,
Okay.
like a gift from the higher power, you know.
Like you were spared.
Yeah, and maybe your connection with that power through prayer was part of why,
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things don't always go that smoothly, right?
Mhm.
So what about the other outcome? What's the flip side of that?
The second outcome that they present is death.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Oh.
They frame it as a return to the creator. You know, they emphasize that death is going to come for everybody eventually.
Right.
But for those who prayed and acknowledged God in their lives,
Mhm.
they will be remembered by him on the day of judgment.
So it's kind of like heads I win, tails I still win.
You could look at it that way, yeah.
But is that really like, is that really a win-win? Or is it kind of sidestepping the question of like,
Right.
did prayer actually get you what you wanted in this earthly realm?
It's definitely something to think about, and that's where At Light of Reflection draws a contrast with what they see as the atheist viewpoint.
Okay, so what's that contrast? What do they say about atheists?
Okay, so from At Light of Reflection's perspective, the atheist sees everything as essentially random.
Okay.
So survival is just a roll of the dice, and death is just lights out.
The end.
That's it.
Okay.
There's no bigger meaning, no grand plan, just this random existence that ultimately ends in nothing.
So they're saying that regardless of the outcome, prayer at least provides that sense of purpose
Yeah, and connection.
that maybe atheism lacks.
Exactly.
Like it's not just what happens to you, it's how you frame your entire existence.
Exactly, and they take it a step further.
Oh, here we go.
They say one of these viewpoints has to be true. Either we are all judged in the afterlife or none of us are.
Okay.
There's no in-between, no separate set of rules.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
It is.
Like you can't cherry pick the parts of reality you like.
Nope.
So how does that monk respond to that?
Well, At Light of Reflection throws down the gauntlet.
Oh,
They challenge At Muck to disprove God's existence
okay.
or somehow escape death to prove their point.
Oh my goodness.
It's provocative.
That's intense. Like, can you even prove or disprove something as big as like God or the afterlife?
Yeah.
Are we getting into some deep philosophical territory here?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a question people have been debating for centuries.
Right.
And it raises questions about how much can we actually know for sure, and what role does faith play when we hit the limits of human understanding?
So we've got this challenge to disprove God, and then this idea that all signs point to a creator, but it doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
They then introduce what they call the atheist gamble.
Oh, I've heard of this.
What is that about?
So this is where I think the debate gets really, really interesting from like a psychological point of view.
Okay.
Because what At Light of Reflection is suggesting is that choosing atheism is like making this high stakes bet
Right.
with potentially eternal consequences.
Wow.
So their argument is basically like, if atheists are wrong and there is a judgment day,
Okay.
they've missed the boat.
Like they're out.
Yeah, on this blissful afterlife. Yeah.
It's like saying, sure, you can live your life without faith, but are you willing to risk eternal damnation just to make a point?
Pretty much, yeah.
It feels a little loaded.
It does. It definitely adds this layer of emotional intensity
Right.
to the debate.